great morning, great afternoon, great evening. Hey love, hey love, hey love. I am Jessie C. Love, also known as Teacher Love, Coach Love. It is June 12, 2019, and yes, I'm still a #1 collaborating co-author of a bestseller with Amazon called The Purpose Woman 365-Day Devotional. Those of you that ordered your books, yeah, your additional surprise, I will have that today. I haven't received the books yet. I'll let you know when I do get that. This is the Love Your Health, Love Your Life, Love Yourself education and information segment. I'm not making any medical claims to cure, mitigate, diagnose, treat, or prevent any disease, health issue, or disease within the body. Consult your medical professional as needed. Do your own due diligence and research with any topic that I present before you utilize or discontinue something that I present. This is a topic that I've talked about before. Since I'm in the process of having my annual done tomorrow, I've decided I'd come on a little bit and be a little more thorough with the talk. So I do appreciate those of you who do come in. As with all of my posts, videos at least, they're public, so you're more than welcome to share them. This is some research that I did in reference to ladies, our breasts. And I got it from QT Breast Health as well as other medical articles online, as well as some handouts that I received, so I wanted to share it with you. So this is not just for women. Men, you're included. You do have breast tissue. It's just not as much as us. You are not exempt. Hello, somebody. The majority of my talk is going to be for women and breasts. Thanks for the heart. I saw that. Lovely. Let me go ahead and get started because, as I said, I'm going to be a little more extensive with this, and yeah. Anyway, 2015, I read that 250,000 women, let me put this down, were diagnosed or were said to going to be diagnosed with breast cancer. For those of you who look like me, my reflection, African American, or if you call yourself Moor, if you call yourself Black, African, whatever, we're 39% more likely to develop breast cancer, or at least get diagnosed a little bit later, because a lot of us either don't have access or we don't go get checked. Yeah, and that's more than European American women. Higher rate. Time of diagnosis, access, adherence, response, and even obesity can be the reason why African American women have a higher rate of breast cancer diagnosis. Some of us don't get an exam at all. In 2017, I saw a post that said it was over 252,000 women cases, and there were over 40,000 deaths from breast cancer. Mammograms, they say if you're over 40, ladies, you're supposed to get one every year. I've been getting one since I was in my 30s. Thanks for speaking. Hey, Usman. Hey, Sheik. And the reason I've been doing that is because my maternal grandmother was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she had a mastectomy at the age of 32. So when you have an immediate family member like that, you're more susceptible to having breast cancer, they say. And I love my breasts. They're beautiful. I'm not even going to lie. I do have some beautiful breasts. And I take more pride in them now. Everybody don't have access. Yes, indeed. Everyone doesn't have access to them anymore. I do take pride in them. I appreciate them, and I'm grateful for them. Yes, I am. Breast tissue is composed of milk glands, milk ducts, supportive tissue, which is known as dense tissue, and fatty tissue, which is known as non-dense tissue. Women with dense breasts have more density than fatness, which means that when they have a mammogram, it's going to show up more white than anything. No. Non-dense is more white. Dense is darker because you can't really see through it. Oh my gosh. It's transparent. Dense appears with solid white area. Let me do that again. On a mammogram, non-dense appears darker and more transparent. The density appears with solid white areas and is difficult to see through. It's a radiologist that determines what kind of density you may have. Hey Arnold, thanks for speaking. There's no clear explanation as to why some women have more dense breasts than others. It could be exercise, it could be age, but there's no clear explanation. It could be just the way the Creator wanted us to be, okay? Could be. They do say hormone therapy, possibly menopause, but we don't know. It's not caused by exercise, so don't be alarmed by that. There's 4 levels of density that I found. Almost entirely dense, which means nearly half of the breast is fat. 1 in 10 women, they say, has that. Extremely dense, almost all of the breast is dense, which means 1 in 10 women, or they found that 1 in 10 women have that. Scattered means there's areas of fibroglandular density. The dense areas are scattered while the majority of the breast is not, and they say that 4 out of 10 women have that. Heterogeneously dense means that there's some non-dense, and that's the majority of the breast being dense, with some areas of non-dense. 50% of women have dense breasts, according to QT Breast Health. Having dense breasts, they say, can increase the chance of having breast cancer. I noticed with looking at my grandmother, her breasts and my breasts are not the same. And I don't know if I got that from the Love side or the Randall side, but I did notice that her breasts are different from mine. Now, when I was younger and lifting weights, the pectoral, my breasts sat up a lot more than they do right now. As we age, ladies, they're going to naturally sag, so it's all right. They're supposed to. But I did notice with my grandmother, hers, because she's also heavier, hers hang more than mine do. I did notice that with her. No, I didn't touch my grandma's breast. I looked at the difference and looked at the scar where they removed one of her breasts, and how it makes her kind of hunched over because she no longer has that balance in the front, which is another reason why I started getting my breast examined. Yeah, I do. One thing I don't like about mammograms is that they say that one mammogram exam can expose you to like 1,000 X-ray radiation. I don't like that, because it's like you're giving me radiation which can cause breast cancer in order to do this exam. That I don't like. Nevertheless, I get it done. Another reason why I got mine done is because according to my OBGYN, I've never been pregnant. And if I have, then it was a spontaneous abortion to where my body was like, no, don't want that. Or my Creator said, not that one. So there was a time when I had a discharge with my breast exam. Ladies, you're supposed to do them. You can do them in the shower. You can do them lying down. But I was checking my own breast and had a discharge from my nipples, because you're also supposed to gently squeeze your nipples. And there was like this milky, clear, and bloody discharge. It wasn't a lot, but it concerned me. So when I let my OBGYN know that, he was like, I think it's time. Against what society says. So in my 30s, I started having them. I just do them annually, like tomorrow. There's different kinds of exams, so there's a different kind of risk. And what I also learned is that because of all of the radiation that you're exposed to, they have this thyroid card that you really have to ask for. I never knew that. And I don't know why they didn't say anything. So tomorrow I will be asking for that. My paternal grandmother died from throat cancer. So if that means you have something I can hold or, put up here to protect my thyroid or my throat, I want it from now on. So I will be asking about that tomorrow. Different kinds. There's molecular imaging. There's MRIs, but with those you also have to get injections, which may increase your chances. There's ultrasound and 3D, which may require additional testing because of the readings that are done. And like I said, men, you're not excluded, because perhaps 1 in 100,000 men are diagnosed with breast cancers. So you really have to check yourself too. In 2017, I found something that said there was an estimated 2,400 men who were diagnosed with breast cancer. You still have breasts, you just don't have as much, okay? They say the most common physical sign is a painless lump, and if it spreads to the underarm lymph nodes, then it also includes some swelling. The less common signs, they say, is pain, heaviness, persistent changes like redness, swelling, thickening, erosion, retraction. You know, if you all of a sudden see your breast kind of like sink in. Spontaneous discharge, which I talked about, especially if it's bloody. Hey, Sabrina, cuz. And not, let me see, what was I about to say? Spontaneous discharge, especially if it's bloody and you're not pregnant and lactating. You should not have evidence of milk coming out of your nipples when you are not lactating and you're not pregnant. You shouldn't, which I wasn't. So, yeah. Absolutely. The sooner you go and get yours checked, then the better. If you have a history of cancer, let's say your grandma, your great-grandma, your sister, or a brother even, then you want to be adamant and proactive. Advocate for the exam. Don't wait until you're over 40, because even with a mammogram, what I also read was that it can take anywhere from, 5 to 8 years? Yes, it takes 5 to 8 years to detect a cancerous tumor. So I was like, oh my gosh, thank God all of my exams have come back, but I didn't know it was 5 to 8 years to even detect something. Hey Arnold, thank you. I appreciate it. So in addition to the mammogram that I'm doing tomorrow, some other research that I did with other exams that are there. Hey Terrence, there's one called thermography. I never knew what it was, didn't know it existed. And then with all my research, I see that it's like 2-3 years old that they've been talking about it. I hadn't looked in it. They call it a thermography breast exam scan or screening. And yeah, I didn't say this before, but ladies, the breast don't make us, we make the breast. I pray that is not my testimony to go through that, but if it does happen, my breasts don't make me. They don't. The thermography exam, it claims to be able to detect cancerous cells sooner. Now the FDA ain't all into this one because, you know, it's money. Yeah, they don't support it, and they say that it's not as effective as a regular mammogram. However, I'm going to do it anyway. A lot of insurances don't cover it, which means it's going to be out of pocket. I think it's worth it for me, so I'm going to do that in July, just because I wanted to wait and see what the mammogram says, and then kind of compare it to the thermography exam. Before the exam, what I've been told is like 24 hours before the thermography exam is that I can't take a hot shower, I cannot get a massage, I cannot use lotions, and I cannot use deodorants. Now with a mammogram, we don't use lotions, we don't use deodorant. Most of us do it early in the morning so that, you know, we ain't funky, because we've been going all day without deodorant. Whatever kind it is. With the thermography, once we're in the room, and from the research that I saw, is they put you in a cool room. The reason they don't want you to take a hot shower is because cancerous cells gravitate towards heat. When you're cool and they do that test, it's like a camera. What happens is you go into the room, it's cool, you're undressed from the waist up, just like you are for a mammogram. But with the thermography one, they have you have your hands raised to where they're taking a picture from like your throat all the way down to your abdomen. So it's a scan that looks for heat. And on top of that, unlike a mammogram, the thermography is going to scan your lymph nodes. So if there's something going on with the lymph nodes that the mammogram isn't picking up, the thermography will. And like I said, they put you in a cool room for a little while so that your body temperature, especially in this area, cools down. And when they do the scan, it's like a picture. It's non-invasive. It's not something that's going to hurt. There's no radiation. You're like in front of a screen getting a picture taken, and it scans all the way down to your stomach. because your abdominal area is down here. But it goes all the way down to your stomach, and it takes a picture. And it looks for infrared. So where there's red, you know, they kind of look at it a little more closely to see why you're hot in those areas, especially when you haven't taken a hot shower and you've been sitting getting cooled down. So, excuse me, I decided I just want to see what it's like. There's no compression, there's no radiation. The normal vessels show coolness, the abnormal vessels stay hot because blood is flowing to it, okay? And as I said, it's not usually covered by insurance. It could be anywhere from like $200 to $250 for the exam, depending upon what kind of issues they may find. You may need to come back in 3 months for another evaluation. Otherwise, they're like, you can do it 6 months, you can do it a year. And you can do it in addition to the mammogram, which I am. And I'm paying out of pocket. Mammograms, depending upon if you have insurance or not, anywhere from $100 to $250 anyway, except it doesn't have the radiation. So some things that I actually wanted to tell you with some graphs, and this is from 2017, 2018, breast cancer facts and figures. And it, for the most part, only talked about European American and African American. There is a chart that shows Native, Alaska Native, Indian, Latina, and Pacific Islander. For every 100,000 or up to 150,000, for European Americans, there is an incidence of 128.7 and 7 tenths. I hate saying 0.7, it's 7 tenths. And for the mortality, there's like 21. So for every 128 European American women, 21 died. 27 between 2010 and 2014. This was published 2017 to 2018. So they're behind. For African American, Black, more. For every 125 and 5 tenths, 29.5% deaths out of that. For every Indian, Alaska Native, out of every 100, there was 14. For Latina, every 92, there was 14. For Pacific Islander, every 90, 91, Haitico, there's 11. So this is that chart, just in case you want to see for yourself that I'm looking at. You have your European American and then the deaths. African American more than the deaths, and then so on. Alaska, and then your Latina and your Pacific Islander. For incidence rates by subtype from 2010 to 2014, and they need to update it because this is like 2017 that they posted this. For every 100,000, you have this chart here. I only looked at this one. So you have, you know, your European American, and then your African American, then you have your American, Alaska, you know, if you look at it by incidence. And that's mostly, I think that's because they're going to get their breast screenings done to get detected. What blew me away was looking at the map. And they only gave me 2 maps, European American as well as African American. And if you look at the states, I'm in California right now. For people that look like me, we have the highest death rate in California. Louisiana, Oklahoma, New Mexico. Oh my gosh, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. What is that, Montana? Yeah. For European American, it's different. So you have this top one. The dark is the higher mortality. The lighter it is, less mortality. And then when you look at those who look like me, and that's just those of us that are going to get tested with the mammogram or whatever it is. So California, European American, incidence about 140. African American about 130. Latina 90. Pacific Islander 96. Hispanic 23. Deaths. African American 32 deaths. Latina, 15 deaths. Asian Pacific, 13. South Carolina, because I look down, just grab something. European American, you have 128 with the incidents. About 21 died. African American, you have about 126 with the incidents. 29 died. Latina, you have about 90 with the incidents. 9 died. For Pacific Islander, 76 with the incidents of it. And they have an asterisk for deaths. Mississippi, my home state. European American, 113. And 19 of you die, according to this chart. For African American in Mississippi, 121 incidents, 32 die. Latina, you have 41%. Pacific Islanders, 61%, but there's an asterisk for no deaths. United States as a whole, 128 for European American, 125, 126. Well, 128.7 for European American, 126 African American, 92 Latina, 91 Pacific Islander. But the deaths, 21 European American, 30 African American, Latina, 14 Pacific Islander, 11. And I got it from this chart. So I just went and kind of underlined looking. I'm like, let me see where, I am and where I'm going to be. I didn't even look at Georgia. You just as high as California. Whew. Now my printer, and I know this is extensive, but I said I was going to go into more detail with it because it hits home and I'm getting my mammogram done tomorrow. My printer didn't do what I really wanted it to do. I don't know, it's tripping. But I printed out what a regular breast looks like and a dense breast. A regular breast when you do a mammogram versus a dense breast when it does a mammogram. So ignore the red streaks. But a regular breast with a mammogram, you almost see through it. That's what I meant by density. And then I messed up in the beginning talking about it wasn't white. It is white. With a dense breast and the possibility of anything happening, it shows up white. And I got that from QT Breast Health. Now, when you do, or if you decide to ever get a thermography exam, as I said, you go in and they have you in front of that to where it scans from like the neck to the abdominal area, to the stomach, excuse me, not the abdominal area. And the coolness doesn't show any issues, let's just say that. Possibly no cancerous cells. But then when you start seeing all the redness come in the breast, it's a possibility of some issue. Because now it's like, well, why is one cool and one has a lot of blood flow going to it and it's hot? But there is some up there. And then when this one that I looked up, it's all cool, but then all of a sudden you see little marks, if y'all can see that. Hopefully I got it right. You see a little red spot where there's something that's hot. A little red spot where there's something hot. Which means that they'll end up calling this woman and this woman back in just to get another exam and see what's going on. Now, I think that with this redness here, when our breasts sag, of course, it's closer to our bodies. So there's going to be more heat that happens. Mammogram, what I am not looking forward to, I promise you I'm not. If you ever had one, let me just show you. So for men, pretend this is your testicle. How about that? This is a breast. It's your breast or it's your testicle. And you're going in for a mammogram, and let's say you have both. I ain't do, So this is what it looked like with the clay. This is from my classroom clay. I still got a lot of my classroom supplies. So I had my nephew put it in a ball for me to represent a testicle or a breast. I said testicle, so man, you get an idea of what your wife goes through when she gets a mammogram. And I'm not looking forward to it. And you know how that commercial was, this is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. When they put the egg inside of the skillet, the egg was your brain, and inside the skillet was your brain on drugs. Yeah. Now, this is your breast or your testicle. And then you go to a mammogram, and this is your breast or your testicle inside of the mammogram machine. Yeah. They squish it. They flatten, basically, as flat as they can get. They lift your breast up. You get all the way close to this machine, and they will lift your breast up, have you come into the machine as close as possible, grab hold with one side, and it's like a pancake smasher that comes down on your breast. So your breast was like this, and that little clear like plate comes down to smash your breast to this, smash testicle to this. And then they tell you to stand still while you're being squished. They try to be as nice as possible. It's painful. And they tell you to hold your breath until she goes out of the room to go in another room and do an x-ray. And then it lifts up, and then you can breathe. And then, you know, have to do it another time and another time on the same breast. And then you switch and do the other one. Yeah. So, gentlemen, if your wife comes home with an attitude after having a mammogram, just take into consideration if this was your testicle and then it got squished, and how she would feel, how you would feel. Ain't nobody gonna be in no good mood after that. You try to be as nice to the technician that's doing it, because she know it hurt. It hurts, excuse me. And on top of that, you're being exposed to a lot of radiation, and you have to do that at least yearly. Now, if they find something abnormal, you got to come back in and do another one. Ooh, I got a headache just talking about that. Lord. Okay, afterwards, yeah. Now, do it yourself, as well as having your OBGYN. Like, you know, mine, he checks mine anytime I have my annual pap smear, which I had it last week. And then I'm also going to see him next week, again, to discuss the results of my tests, different tests that I'm doing, since I don't feel well coming back into California. Now, ladies, for those of you and fathers with your daughters, to teach your daughters early, and even to do it for yourself, because like I said, you're not exempt from breast cancer. You're not. I even met a man who had breast cancer, and he had to be adamant for them to do an exam because he felt something abnormal. In the shower, you cannot check your breast this way. No. Put your hand, you need some water, of course, and then you just flat finger, you want to check, okay? See if there's anything abnormal going on. And of course, pinch your nipple to see if anything is coming out that shouldn't be. You know, if you're pregnant, that's different. But if you're not, there should be no discharge. And then you do it again for the other side. You know, when you're laying down, ladies, or husbands, when you want to help check your wife, you put like a rolled towel underneath you, okay? And then with the opposite, you start on the outer and you just check, as well as squeezing your nipples. You want to check the areola area as well, in case there's something different going on there. Always. Also, you should always be looking at your bodies, ladies. Husbands, look at your wives' bodies, please. In the mirror, look and see if they change with the way that they hang. Look and see if there's a dimple that shouldn't be there. You know, I ain't talking about stretch marks. I used to be upset with the stretch marks and stuff. I ain't talking about that. But when you see something that has changed, You need to be concerned about it. You need to look at your body in the mirror and see. As well as, husband, your extra eyes. Look at your wife, because you may notice something that she doesn't see. She's always looking at her breasts, or she should be. You may see something different. You know, that right before y'all get intimate, if she's the one, ain't nothing wrong with you. You know, babe, have we checked lately? Let me look. Let me feel. You know, while you got your mouth on her, if something come out and it shouldn't, you need to let her know that. Because if she's not pregnant, shouldn't be nothing that you getting. Come to think of it, I remember my ex from the 90s. He said that to me once. That was another indication. I was like, what? So thank you, Rodney. I appreciate that. He was another indication. That made me look more. And then when I saw the discharge, I was like, oh, he really did. Yeah, the power of 2, yeah, it's pretty astounding. It's amazing, and it's helpful. As well as, wives, check your husband's, testicles, because you never know. They start hanging a different way. Your eyes may see something before his. All right. So, that's all I wanted to talk about. I know this was a little long. I do appreciate y'all for coming in. And I did say discretion is advised. It's up to us to take care of ourselves. Early detection is the key to anything. Preventative maintenance. Absolutely, Terrence. Absolutely imperative. Doing self-check, self-care. And when you're married, today, something's a little different. You may need to get a little checkup just to see what's going on. Now, if it's your lifestyle, diet, and something that you've eaten, that's something to be attentive to. We're helpers one to another. So, you got your wife and your husband. Utilize that. If not, get your exams and just be aware of the different kind of exams as well as what you're being exposed to. Because I didn't know one mammogram was like 1,000 x-rays. I didn't know that. Still, they say, thermography is not a replacement for a mammogram. It's an additional help, as well as there were like 4 other tests. But I ain't trying to get no injections. I don't want to be injected with nothing in order to have an MRI unless something shows abnormal. Then I have a concern. Thus far, I'm grateful to the Creator that everything's been just fine. I just do preventative maintenance, and because I want to know, just in case something has changed. Now, will I do it next year? I'm not sure. But the option is always there. Always. So, I appreciate y'all for coming in, tuning in to this segment of Love Your Health, Love Your Life, Love Yourself. Remember that the first wealth is health. We have to take care of ourselves. And if we have a partner that's there that can also help us see when some changes is going on, man, I don't even know why Rodney dropped in my head, but I remember that when he said it. I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah, so Rodney, if you watch this, love you. Man. Yeah. You may not have any symptoms. You may not have pain. You may not have redness. It's just prevention is a whole lot easier than trying to fight back from something. It's like pushing a boulder downhill versus pushing one uphill. I'd rather know ahead of time and catch it early, just in case. Yeah, because our bodies are temples. It's the only one that we have that we know of right now. We don't know where we're going later. But if I can get an oil change, I'm going to do whatever it takes to check on what's going on here, because I'm more important than that car. So, I'm just saying that, get your pipes checked. Let me go. Ooh, that wasn't as, yeah, I'm going to go. Been having some body talks, even with my nephew, so, yeah, I didn't know he hadn't even had oh my goodness, he hasn't had the talk about his body. His teachers haven't talked about it. He's in 6th grade. What? So I had to have that talk too. So yeah, I appreciate y'all. Thank you for the thumbs up and the hearts. Yeah, be proactive, y'all. Be proactive. And again, husbands, for your wives that come home with an attitude, because I know I'm going to be a little tomorrow. This is her breast. And this is her breast in a mammogram. So she may not come home with the greatest attitude. Help her. Baby, let me massage you. Let me kiss you. Something. Massage your feet. Kiss. Help her. All right. Until next time, Wednesday is what I'm doing now. Take care of yourself. And make it a lovely day. Not just for you. Find someone else to make it a lovely day for them too. Till next time, and as always, love you. Thanks, Terrence. Yeah. I learn to teach, and I teach to also learn. So, anyone that has any, ladies, if y'all have any experiences, by all means, please go ahead and post it on the segment. Yeah, I was real. Well, I'm going to be transparent anyway. I didn't go through that for nothing. I didn't. I had to learn. And I'm mindful now, so thanks, cuz I saw that. Love y'all.